Mamta ma'am will be talking on ASL.
The assessment of
Yes,
speaking
the
and listening
assessment of
skills.
speaking and listening skills. We have so many sessions on how to develop these skills, listening, speaking, reading, and writing, but we should also know how to assess these skills. So we should have knowledge of the activities, what activities we can conduct to assess the students' skills. So without wasting much time, I think Mamta ma'am, you should continue with the presentation, ma'am.
Right. Thank you, Anamika. Thank
Okay.
you. Good morning, participants.
Good morning.
Good
Hello.
morning, ma'am.
I
Good
hope
morning,
you've
ma'am.
enjoyed your lunch break, but with a cup of tea, right? Not time
Yes,
for
ma'am.
lunch, right? Welcome back. And I met you for a while 2 days back in the session on poetry, but sorry, that wasn't, I had some technical glitches and I couldn't be with you properly. So today we are here for the session on assessment of speaking and listening skills. But before we start with anything, I'd like to hear from you, what exactly do you think is the complete profile, a complete language profile for a child, for a learner, for a child who is studying English as a second language? What all composes the language profile of the child? What all would you count? What all competences? It's basically the, I think we are all familiar with it, the four skills. If you could just share it in the chat, or someone of you, any one of you could talk about it. Hello? Hello?
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Audible. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to the participants about the four skills that we need to focus on, but we are all aware that our focus centers around a few selected ones. Okay, my first question, which is the skill which is most focused upon? Yeah, Tyagiji, Umang Tyagi said LSRW, perfect.
Listening.
All the four skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. But which is the skill, or which are the skills that are most focused on? Writing. Yes. Why? Why do you think is that? Vedu says writing. Vakil Ahmed says listening. Get marks. Perfect. Because our system, our education system is exam oriented, and we normally consider the assessment to be the paper pen test assessment that we conduct at the end of the term or the year. But do you think a language learning at either reading or writing, or should it stop at reading or writing? Yes, no.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello?
This is Swati here.
No. Yes, please, Swati.
Ma'am, I think all four skills have to be developed for to be proficient in language, in any language, not in the English only.
Mm-hmm.
LSRW, the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
to be a hold of a communication skills, we have to be a good listener. We have to be a good speaker also, and we should have
Right.
the ability to comprehend the text and then to write it on all words. That how we are going to present, how we the what will be the product of all these LSR for the W. I mean the listening, speaking, and reading. How they are going to influence our writing also, that's the product. I mean, but we are focusing on writing, that's not good. We should have a focus on all other three parts also, because comprehension also leads to good writing. Listening and speaking also leads to good writing, because what we listen, we speak. The way we listen, we speak. The way we listen, the way we speak, the way then it reflects in a writing also, because there
Oh,
are so many languages, so many slangs in our country, because of the diversity. So all the skills should be focused upon, and assessment about speaking and learning that we are going to do today, I think is based on these facts also.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you for those inputs, Swati. Yes, definitely. A profile, a learner's profile is never complete. A learning is never complete till the time the child is proficient in all the four skills. We have instances of children walking to the corridors of really good colleges with their mark sheets, because the mark sheets are a reflection of their performance in the written exam, and they are not able to communicate well. They find themselves uncomfortable. And let's not forget that in today's world, which is global, and the jobs that are available for our children, they are mostly based on communication. And any standardized test, जो भी standardized test है English के, whatever, whichever are accepted world over, they give equal weightage to all the four skills. Whether the child appears for IELTS, TOEFL, whatever exam, IDP, PTE, the child is tested on all the four skills. And that was the purpose with which the ASL, assessment of the speaking and listening skills, was introduced by the CBSE in, any guesses for the year in which it was introduced?
In 2012, ma'am.
2012, yes. It was introduced as a pilot in some of the schools, and over the years it took a chunk of the weightage. When it was introduced in classes 9th and 10th, and even for the senior secondary classes, in fact, it started with that. It had a weightage of 20 marks. But now we know that the weightage has been reduced to, what is the present weightage in your curriculum, I mean, for the secondary classes? Any guesses?
I think, ma'am, 5 marks.
5 marks, yes. It is 5 marks, you are right. We've already focused a bit on why we think it is important. In fact, अगर हम अपनी चारों skills को देखते हैं, तो 2 of them are receptive and 2 of them are productive skills. Can we categorize them accordingly?
Speaking
Which
and
are
writing speaking and are productive skills, and
yes,
and to
speaking and writing.
remaining to are receptive skills, like
Receptive.
listening and
Yes,
reading.
yes, because we listen and then we respond. Respond means speaking. We read and then we write. And in fact, if we look at the examination system, जो हमारे ये standardized exams हैं, अब वो 4 skills separate के बजाय, especially the Trinity College London has introduced a new format for these exams, which is ISC, Integrated Skills Examination. And they have formatted the exam. You read, you listen, and you speak. You read and then you write. So they are assessed that way. So that is the point why assessment of speaking and listening skills was introduced, as correctly shared by one of you, in the year 2012. But more important, I think, than ASL is ESL. अब इसको कौन गेस करेगा कि ESL क्या है? Any guesses on ESL?
Experience of speaking and learning.
Okay, some other guess?
The evaluation of speaking and
Evaluation of speaking and learning. Okay. More guesses?
Evaluation of speaking and listening.
Pardon?
Evaluation of speaking and listening skills.
Evaluation of speaking, yeah, I was already mentioned. नहीं भाई, evaluation और assessment तो same हो गया ना फिर.
May I, ma'am? This is Swati here.
Yes, please.
ESL is for English as a second language.
English as a second language. By you mentioned the, like, you've elaborated on the acronym correctly. but that is not what I was looking for here. ये तो कुछ और है. ASL का purpose जो है वो ESL है. चलो अब बताओ. I can't be more explicit than this. I'm not able to see myself for the chat. Full screen से हट जाए. Time is ticking out by countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pass? या कोई है? बोलो भाई.
Every day speaking and listening, maybe. Every
Oh,
day.
nahi bhai, nahi. No.
Okay,
ESL
okay.
here I'll give in because then we have to continue. Experiential speaking and learning, enriching speaking and learning, engagement is. अरे वाह, ये तो बहुत ही panoramic view हो गया. इतना तो मैंने भी नहीं सोचा था. My view was very limited और वो था enhancement of speaking and listening skills. Because all the time we keep on talking about assessment. और assessment तो तभी हम करेंगे ना जब हमने उस skills को enhance किया है. We need to focus on those skills, enhance those skills, only then we can assess them. And that is why the CBSE wants us to spend at least 30 periods on listening and speaking competencies, on developing these competencies. Do we do it? A quick yes, no. Do we practice listening and speaking skills regularly?
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect, perfect. How do we incorporate them in our classes? How do we do it in our classes? Discussion, reading of lessons, what else? Hello?
Hello.
हाँ जी भाई, स्पीकिंग एंड लिसनिंग कैसे कराते हैं? ऐसे ही कराते हैं जैसे हम अभी कर रहे हैं. मैं yes.
We organize different kinds debate, conversation, and telling, storytelling, extemper, etc.
Very true, very true. There's a range of activities which we organize and conduct in our classes to enhance these speaking and listening skills. But according to the ASL guidelines laid by CBSE, we can also refer to the books जो उन्होंने हमें दी हुई हैं. In fact, after this, I'll share in the Telegram group. Once we had prepared activities on all the lessons in class 9, like how we can exploit and use the textbook as a resource for promoting speaking and listening skills. इसमें एक अच्छा ASL का format मालूम है क्या हमें? The 3 stages of the ASL test. If one of you could just quickly share it. ASL में क्या क्या करते हैं हम? Like how do we start the assessment? Is it? Yes, please.
I'm Swati here.
Yes, please, Swati.
The student has to introduce themselves first,
Yes.
and then they have to speak on the topic given by the teacher, and other students listen to it. Then they put the questions regarding the topic that the students had just elaborated on.
Okay, good. Anything else? Just one more step, the final step.
The discussion of topic.
Okay, that comes in the topic only. There's a different activity also, which is the last step of the ASL.
Ma'am, the students are given a situation on which they have to make inferential arguments. They have to discuss what could be the reasons and like that.
Right. Who was that? Like, because I'm sharing the screen, I'm not able to see who's responding.
Vidhu this side, ma'am.
Vidhu, okay. Thank you. Yes, that is termed as the problem-solving stage. We begin with an introduction. Introduction wala jo portion hai, that's just a 1-minute activity. 2 to 3 simple questions are placed before the child, and this stage is not assessed. हमारा जो main assessment है वो topic presentation, discussion of the topic, answering the questions related to it, और last वाला जो है उसमें क्या है, we present the child a problem, a situation in which those two children, like it is a test in pair. I hope we all remember that कि ASL कभी individual child का नहीं होता, it's two children who are assessed together because they are marked on turn taking also, who takes initiative, who gives space to the other person to speak, because communication is not just speaking, it's listening too. तो जो फाइनल स्टेज है उसमें हमारा प्रॉब्लम सॉल्विंग होता है. तो we had developed a resource on how these lessons are booked, the beehive, all the lessons in the beehive can be used for promoting or enhancing speaking and listening skills. I'll be sharing that document with you also. And in the meantime, when Deepti ji was rounding off her lesson, you were talking about the changes in the curriculum. So I have already shared that slide, the PowerPoint in the Telegram group. And so have I done the sample paper and the marking scheme. जो revised आया है अभी latest, some of you had asked for it. वो भी I have just placed it in the Telegram group during the break time. So you can refer to that later. Coming back to the ASL, ASL has its own parameters and these are the 4 aspects. Because चाहे उसका weightage ASL का 5 marks है, let's remember that CBSE wants us to assess the students on 40 marks, 20 for speaking, 20 for listening. और जब हम स्पीकिंग में उनको असेस करते हैं, all these 4 parameters, 4 areas, interactive competence, fluency, pronunciation and language, they are tested and have a weightage of 5 marks each. ऐसे ही listening में there are different tasks, 4 types of tasks, 5 marks each. 20 makes it 40 से हम पहले 20 करते थे, but अब वो कितना है weightage? We had just talked about it. 5 marks. 5, yes. The schedule for the ASL is not fixed. हमें SA1 में फर्स्ट टर्म में भी करवाना है और फाइनल असेसमेंट में भी. Earlier we used to send the recording of the assessment of speaking and listening skills. जो बच्चों का ये टेस्ट हम लेते थे फाइनल, till 2 years back we had to record it all and send the files to burn a CD and send it to CBSE along with the assessment sheet, mark sheet के साथ. Now we are not required to send the recording because they've already reduced the weightage from 20 to 5, but we have to maintain the record, keep the record in the school. Speaking का proper 3-stage ये format, listening की worksheets है जो अभी भी they are available on CBSE Gateway also, or if you want I'll share another manual with you. Let's do a quick quiz on the ASL or basically speaking and listening skills. Let's forget the A को हम drop करते हैं for a while. I'll be needing your answers quickly. You can unmute yourself and participate, please. Agree, disagree or can't say. Answer yes, nahi, no nahi hoga. It has to either agree, disagree or can't say and then give reasons for your answer. Okay, that's why I want you all to unmute yourself. Okay, when you listen, you try to understand every word that is being said.
Disagree.
When you listen, disagree. Why?
And because
Please support your
overall we try
answer.
to understand what the person is trying to say.
At times, we don't have to focus. Yes, quick. Let's move on to the next. Every conversation starts with good listening.
Agree, ma'am.
Yes. This is in perfect sync with what Jyoti Chauhan has mentioned in the chat, that we need a prompt, because prompt is like a good listening, like you are given a cue to hold on and you proceed. Good speakers are not necessarily good listeners.
Agree.
Agree.
Sometimes.
Good speakers are
Disagree.
not necessarily good listeners.
Because to be a good speaker, it is very necessary to be a good listener.
Yes. But are all the good speakers good listeners?
No, ma'am.
It's not compulsory.
Now, this is something on which we cannot make a sweeping statement. Blanket statement won't go here, but yes, definitely good speakers must be good listeners, because again speaking we just said that is it a productive skill. तो जब तक हम सुनेंगे ही नहीं हम बोलेंगे कैसा अच्छे. You don't need to teach listening skills, they develop naturally. You don't need to teach listening skills, they develop naturally. Agree, disagree? No response in the chat. You could even mention in the chat. Do we need to teach listening skills? Hello? Do we need to teach listening skills? By listening के बाद responding, oh yes, 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 disagree, agree. Lalit Kumar says agree. No, Lalit says disagree. Which means we don't need to teach them or we need to teach them. Could you unmute yourself please, Lalit? Lalit, are you listening? भाई सुन लो, यही तो हम कह रहे हैं. क्या हमें सिखाना है सुनना या नहीं? Most of us are saying yes, we need to teach them. We have to. Yes, Utkarsh Pandey is saying we have to make them learn how they can enhance their listening skills. Definitely. That is why we keep on repeating, listen to me, listen to me. Are you listening? Are you listening? There's a difference between listening and hearing, and we all know that. Good listeners are good responders. Agree?
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
Yes, no doubt. You can't teach listening to large classes. This is a problem all of us face. Large classes. Can we teach listening to large classes?
Yes, ma'am.
I was about to say, I would like somebody to elaborate on it, please. Why do we say that we can't teach listening to large classes? क्यों नहीं करा सकते? Yes, somebody is mentioned in the chat. We can tell them the ways in large classes, but we can't assist them. Yes, we can share the techniques, we can give them practice. But definitely, Kashi, when it comes to assessment has a different format, definitely. But yes, in large classes, we can teach them the techniques, we can tell them the ways how their listening can be more focused. Good listening skills develop through practice. Agree, disagree?
Agree.
Agree. Yes, yes, agree. Everybody is saying agree. You listen more attentively to things that interest you. Undoubtedly agree?
Agree.
Agree. Undoubtedly, I said. No question. Okay. Listening equals learning. If we listen, we learn.
Agree.
Yes.
Yes.
Agree. Yes. Most of our learning is through oral skills. Our classes, our lectures. Yes, 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 yes. I have so many agrees coming up in the chat. Definitely yes. Because we are conditioned to learning by listening. And that is the purpose ASL is doing. It's testing. It focuses on the candidate's ability to speak fluently and cohesively on a topic of their choice. Now, this is to clarify, one of us just mentioned that the topic is assigned by the teacher. No, the CBSE sends us a list of the topics. The topics are shared in the class. The child has full freedom to select his or her topic to speak on. And what is the duration that the child has to speak for? Any idea about the time? How much does the child have to speak?
It is, I guess, 1 to 2 minutes.
1 to 2 minutes. Ideal is 1 minute. Yes.
Ideal is
Oh,
1 minute.
yes. Utkarshji is saying from the birth we learn through listening. Definitely, definitely, yes. So coming back to ASL, yes, the child has a freedom of choice to select the topic and speak on the topic for a minute. And after presenting the topic, there is an interaction between the two children who are being assessed. Each asks questions to others. Then they solve the problem. यहाँ पे मैं एक वो problem, I am just reminded of a problem. Okay. Do we remember the lessons, the snake and the mirror, if I'm naming it correctly? Snake
Yes,
and the
ma'am.
mirror, the lesson with the young doctor. What happens at the end of the story?
See, he actually, the doctor somehow miraculously saves himself because the snake is, he gets distracted by the mirror and starts looking at its reflection. And that is the
Yes,
time when the doctor runs away. And when
right.
he comes back the next morning, he finds out that there have been some burglary and everything has been taken away except for his dirty vest. So he thinks that
Except for his dirty vest. Perfect. Now, why do you think his dirty vest was left?
because even the burglars had some standard.
They had some standards. No, the vest was dirty. You just said it. And this is the cue we've taken up in the problem solving route, taking cue from the doctor's experience. Share how you would spread awareness about personal hygiene among your class fellows. So this is the way we can use, in fact, I would not say use, I'll say exploit. Because, our textbook is a tool as well as a resource. So how we use the textbook in our class is very important. So this is just one of the examples. In fact, all the lessons have been used in this way, either for topic presentation or for problem solving stage, where you give the children a situation and leave them to discuss it and how to come out of it and how to use it for their learning.
At this point, Mamta ji, I would also like to share. You've
Yes,
given a
please.
very good example. I'm Sonia. You could share from
Yes.
Bholi
Oh, good.
chapter. Yes, chapter Bholi is very close to women emancipation and how child girl education. So a lot of
Right.
material can be extracted from this chapter Bholi. So more importantly, we have to understand when we are exploring these chapters and exploiting chapters and poems, we can do speaking and listening as and when we are taking the chapters rather than taking it as an individual or a different or a altogether cut out session. More importantly, we have to imbibe and use the material which we already have and do it right there unobtrusively, so that the level of the children regarding learning and regarding listening and speaking, their bar raises automatically. So by social concerns which are there in the chapters, so we can ask our friends here if they can also think about some other chapters from 6 to 12. Even for the chapter, the dog found a master himself. There are a lot of many things which we can use as listening and speaking, extrapolation. So let's ask our friends if they can give us some more suggestions and, think about topics on listening and speaking while they are taking up the chapters. We can
Textbook
discuss.
lesson. Thank you, Sonia. I was waiting for you to join, and I didn't know when you joined.
No,
Missing.
I'm here since past 15 minutes, but you were
Ah,
in a session, so I didn't.
nay. We together. Both of us are together, right?
Thank
Thank you, Sonia. Yes, participants, please, if you could share, if you could think of more instances from your lessons,
Ma'am, I would like to share something.
please.
I actually do not know how we can think of it as a speaking activity, but this happened with a topic that I was taking with class 10. This was about the poem
Mm-hmm.
Amanda. So what happened was when we finished with the reading and everything, some of the students just pointed it out that, ma'am, we do not agree with what Amanda is thinking, or the poet is maybe trying to tell that the child is feeling bound by all the restrictions that the mother has made. So they were of that opinion that in the end, actually, it is good for Amanda. So they extended the entire poem so that when, let us say, Amanda becomes a young a woman, she realizes the sacrifices and the reasons why her mother so much. So this nagging was actually concern for the girl. So they came to that conclusion by themselves. They did not actually agree with the point that the poem was right in what they were telling, and they they wrote something of their own also to extend the poem.
Good. So that's perfect, connecting the text to yourself and bringing it to a speaking activity.
Yes,
Here
ma'am.
I'm reminded of the lesson, The Lost Child. When the child wants the toys, the child wants the sweets, the child wants balloons, child wants to ride the merry-go-round, and that is all he's demanding from his parents. But the moment he gets separated from his parents, there's a person who offers him everything, a stranger. What does the child want then? To everything he's offered, the child has only one reply. And what
I
was the
want my
reply?
mother. I want my
I
mother.
want,
I want my father.
I want my mother, I want my father. So that
These
is how you
value
bring children to realize the importance of parents in their life.
yes.
So this is the
And
way
then
we can
I
connect.
also connected this topic from the little girl, Kezia,
Little
like
girl,
how she
yes,
understood her father later on. And she was
right.
herself actually telling herself, this is the reason why my father is so strict. And he
So
does take care of me, but he works hard. That is why he gets angry. So she was giving explanation to herself to
to
justify the
herself,
father's behavior.
yes. Whereas a few days before that, she used to think that why doesn't father to go? Like Sundays were very tough for her
Exactly.
because the father would be there all the time on the sofa, right?
And there are
And she
two
would
different
be
kinds of
envying her
fathers.
neighbors, the
Yes.
neighbor father in the neighborhood playing tag with his children and sprinkling water. So that is what she was envying. But then she realized how soft her father was. So this is the way we can use and connect all our lessons with the enhancement of speaking and listening skills, as we were talking about. Sonia ji, please.
Yeah,
Please
I
go. Yeah.
do agree, and it's not very important that we ask them to speak for a moment or give them an open-ended question. We can do via different activities, just to give them a statement and then give them a closing ending statement. For example, this chapter on your class 10th, two stories about flying. The first story is about that little penguin and how he gets the energy and how he is motivated to fly. So how as students we can as individuals, as students, we can get motivation in ourselves. So there is a lot of extension from that particular text to the outside world. And more importantly, I feel that when you are talking about speaking especially, it has to be with the realia, with the self, जैसे हम अभी बात कर रहे हैं सारे, कि बहुत जरूरी है बच्चे उसके साथ एक कनेक्ट बनाएं, एक जोड़ बनाएं और अपने एक्सपीरियंसेस को रादर देन एक मग्ड अप कोई पोल्यूशन पर 5-8 लाइनें किसी भी गाइड में से हम बोलते हैं आप टॉपिक बताएं किस टॉपिक पे आप बताना चाहते हैं, तो वो कोई रटी रटाई लाइनें हमें सुना देते हैं बच्चे और हम उनको मार्क्स दे देते हैं. तो उसके बजाय अगर हम बच्चों को कनेक्ट बनाना सिखाएं और अपनी पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंसेस को शेयर करना और बताना सिखाएं, let them learn to speak even though they might be making some mistakes in speaking. बेटर यही रहेगा, और उनका जो कॉन्फिडेंस लेवल है और जो उनका जो कम्युनिकेशन स्किल है वो ऑटोमेटिकली ग्रो करेगा, rather than giving them some lines, 10 lines or 8 lines from some vague guide or material from the net. Let them evolve. बैठने उनको एक बहुत अच्छा तरीका है जो मैंने पर्सनली यूज किया है साथियों, वो ये है कि आप पेयर वर्क या ग्रुप में डाल दीजिए बच्चों को, ये बहुत इफेक्टिव रहता है। और उनको बोलो कि आप 4 जने बैठ के एक ही मुद्दे पर लिखें कुछ, और वो चारों का पर्सनल मुद्दा होगा। इट विल बी देयर टॉपिक, इट विल बी देयर एज वी से देयर बेबी। तो उसको वो अगर वो प्रोजेक्ट करेंगे तो उसमें उनको इजी रहेगा करने में। तो ये मैंने किया है एंड इट हैज बीन वेरी इफेक्टिव स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम क्लास 8th 9th 10th 11th एंड 12th। दिस इज वेरी इफेक्टिव। जब आप बच्चों को कुछ टॉपिक्स, ये नहीं कि एक ही दें, 2-3 टॉपिक दें और कहें कि इनमें से आपको जो ठीक लगता है पहले डिस्कशन उठाएं, और उनमें से एक को आप बोल दें कि आप बन जाए, राइटर बन जाएं जो लिखेगा, कुछ आइडिया देंगे, तो कहीं ना कहीं आपके जो 4-5 बच्चे हैं वो कुछ एक 7-8 लाइनों का अच्छा सा स्पीकिंग राइटअप आपके लिए तैयार कर सकते हैं, जो सुन भी सकते हैं बच्चे और बोल भी सकते हैं। मैं ऐसा आई फील इट इज अ गुड वे टू टेक अप लिसनिंग एंड स्पीकिंग इन द क्लास रिलेटेड विद द टॉपिक्स विच वी आर ऑलरेडी टीचिंग। जो हमारे क्वेश्चंस हैं उनको अगर हम लिसनिंग स्पीकिंग में करा दें बच्चों के साथ एक्टिविटी में, तो हमारा दो तरफ का काम हो जाता है। एक हमारा टेक्स्ट और लेसन भी खत्म हो जाता है, साथ ही हमें उनको एक लिसनिंग स्पीकिंग का इंटरेक्शन करने का मौका भी मिल जाता है।
Very true, Sonia. Thank you. And yes, speaking for one is listening for the other. And that is what is our next area of focus, that listening is important to a child's development, because listening and responding leads to speaking. Responding is speaking basically. How we take it, how we take the listening as an input and then present it further. And even before child learns to speak, the child responds to sounds. I think you've all gone through this slide in the meantime. And listening skill is important for academic development. Just as Sonia ji was sharing, that yes, if they discuss in class, और सबसे बड़ी बात ये होती है, the children loved, in fact everyone loves to hear one's own self. So if a child is given a chance to speak in the class, the child's elated, just the joy of the child is immeasurable कि उसको आज क्लास में बोलने का मौका मिला and everybody was listening. So let's make our classes more interactive and carry on the practice of speaking and listening parallel with our textbooks, and that is what enhancement of speaking listening skills is. And why do we listen? Here are different situations in which we listen. Which is our most favorite situation these days? 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, 8. I've already used 1, 2, 3, 4. Later it will be coming in the quiz. Okay, which is the situation we are missing out these days? If someone knows, pardon?
5.
5, yes, we all want to be
5.
5 or 6, 6 also, yes. Social distancing, we are missing it out, yes. And which has taken most of our time and most part of our life now?
7.
7. Virtual listening. An example of it is we are all having it right now also. And this situation 8 is what I was talking about earlier. Are you listening to me is in fact a way of teaching listening. जैसे हम cross check करते रहते going back from one situation to the other. Are you listening? And why do we teach listening? To acquire language, to give information about grammar and structure. How does listening enhance in strengthening grammar? I would like to hear from you. Do you think listening helps in building the grammar competence of a child?
Hello.
Hello.
This is Swati, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes, please, Swati.
Yes, ma'am. It helps to enhance the grammar skills also. because when we listen, we know the pronunciation of the words, we enhance the vocabulary, and we also
Right.
make sentences. We put stress on some sentences, on some words, and express in ourselves through punctuation mark. Like if there is full stop, then how we have to express ourselves. There is a comma, how we have to put a gap between words or sentences. So students get uh, an image of all these things through listening.
Very true. Very true. That is why listening is a great resource in learning the pronunciation, stress, intonation, how to use words in different contexts. Why do you think we ask our children to watch news in the television or listen to songs or music? This is the reason. We want them to know how to use the language correctly. And real communication requires both listening, comprehension, and speaking. Uh, we have always been testing our children on reading comprehension. How do we test them on listening comprehension? In everyday classrooms, ASL is a different format. How do we test that yes, they are able to listen and understand? By asking them to respond in class. Immediately, we as teachers are good enough, are smart enough to realize which of the children, like who are the children who are not listening to us, and we immediately present them with a question. हुआ है कभी किसी के साथ ऐसा? We can make it out from our children's faces that they're not listening, and we put a question to them. Yes, no.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
It happens, and that is the way we bring the child back to the class with us. So yes, listening comprehension. Now, how do we enhance listening? Speaking, we talk that okay, we give them role plays, activities, debate, this, that. Yes, yes, Dheerajji, you're right. We can ask questions in between our teaching. Now, for listening, Sonia ji.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm listening to the responses. Yes, I do.
Okay.
We can enhance listening, and one very easy way as a teacher, as a practicing teacher, I feel is that we can come to know our students have done good listening is that if they're able to use new vocabulary and the pronunciation. If you are speaking certain words in the class and the children are listening carefully, and if you want to take a test and take away whether they're listening carefully, is obviously listening with comprehension. You ask questions as Dheeraj and we just had a discussion. Another very simple take would be that we can, ask them to use new vocabulary which you have used in the classroom, and also look at the pronunciation. So that is one very important way to target and understand and enhance the listening skills as well as test. So that is one thing I feel is very very easy for us as teachers to do in the classroom when we are doing it without taking देखो मेरी यही कोशिश रहती है साथियों कि हम जो क्लासरूम में पढ़ा रहे हैं तो उसी के अंदर हम सारा कुछ इंटीग्रेट करें, क्योंकि इतना टाइम हमारे पास नहीं है कि हम अलग अलग टेस्टिंग करें अलग अलग टाइम पे अलग अलग चीज की. So it has to be a comprehensive take from the students and a comprehensive give from our side to the students. Take it from the students and give it to the students. So this is very important that we understand and use the language components very carefully in the classrooms. And our main focus is to hear the turning sounds. जो sounds है हमारे बच्चे words में convert करते हैं, उनको हम कैसे उठाते हैं और बच्चों के साथ कैसे लेते हैं classroom में, वो एक हमारा take रहेगा.
Very true, very true. Sounds ke saath saath Dheeraj ji has shared in the chat that we can give them new words. When they are listening, introducing new vocabulary, throwing new words at them is a perfect way and the easiest way for them to enhance their vocabulary. And that is how they build their word power. Yes. And an important aspect is that the children should be taught to respond to the content of listening, not just to the language. And when we say the content here, the intent itself is covered. The way we speak something, gives out the meaning. The same sentence or the same statement can be said in different uh, ways. An example of it, please? Like our tone and intonation can change the meaning of what we are saying. Okay,
Yeah,
a simple. Yes,
yes, like
please.
for example, we ask them to, give them an instruction to shut the door. That can be done in various way. Or ask for a, but I can ask them shut the door. It can be a, platonic statement. I can give it an order. Shut the door. I can make it a request. Please shut the door.
Please.
So the way you speak and the way it is interpreted in listening, it has to be it has to be a match. So basically, listening would also mean that how you're interpreting what the other person is speaking. Intonation is, as you said, a very important part of speech. So be
Yes.
basically don't focus on it.
Stress and intonation is the key to all the interpretation, you know. Very simple. Are you listening? Are you listening? Like you're just asking, you are doubting. The same statement is said in different ways. And then using different listening stages demand different listening tasks. It's not that always we want them to understand the meaning. We may want them to remember certain things. For example, in the listening test, the 4 types of listening tasks that we have, they all have different purposes. Either it's remembering the speaker, it's remembering the vocabulary, it's putting the vocabulary in different words, or remembering whether the information is right or wrong, correct or incorrect. So when we are listening, we are all listening with different purposes. Just as we saw that there are different situations for listening, and in each situation, the purpose of listening is different. That is what is to be tested. Now, coming back to assessment of speaking, we've already discussed that yes, it is in pairs. It is not a single child who's assessed. The objectives: raising confidence, increasing vocabulary, pronunciation, intonation. Okay, to put into use the language functions, we have a list of them, but if we could have a sharing from you, what exactly is a language purpose? Language function. Examples of language function. If any one of you could share. Language functions. What do we use language for? Simply the list is already there before you. Either expressing opinion or interaction, giving advice, just as the way Sonia ji and I were sharing that the same words can be used for different purposes. The same vocabulary can be used for different functions. That's exactly the purpose of assessment, enhancing speaking and listening skills to make the children ready for the assessment. Developing communication skills with respect to real life situations. Just as we've already had examples from our text and the connecting to text. Yes, we have a very good suggestion in the chat box that they can be asked to make a pocket dictionary, a self-made dictionary of the new words that they learn. Whatever the words we introduce them to in the conversation, they can be asked to make a dictionary of those words, and the words can be used in class. And repetition builds confidence, repetition reinforces, और यही purpose होता है हमारा revision का. Now this is an okay. Language requirements. What are good communication skills? Any ideas? Let's have it from you before we close down and call it a day for this session. You still have a session to go. Good communication skills. in a nutshell, quick, if you could just put it in the chat, what do you think good communication skills mean? Good communication skills. Speaking, listening, expressing with clarity. Vidhu Gupta says yes. Basically, the purpose of language is to put across your own ideas so that they reach the others. Yes, Vakil Ahmed ji, speaking fluency, pronunciation, convey our message in effective manner. Kalpana Gupta. Dheeraj ji says simple and clear. Swati ji says connecting with everyone. Yes, communication is connecting. If we remember our childhood days, वो simple picture chart होता था, means of transport and communication. So communication is connecting. Vinodji says good communication means to express and to understand properly. Yes, yes, yes. All this falls under communication. And to be understood by everyone. Yes. Okay. Coming back to the fag end of the session, how we prepare our students for ASL. Here we've given a few tips on how we can use these activities and use these to be a part of our everyday teaching, and especially now in these COVID days when most of our teaching is virtual. We see how important communication is, because there is an unseen but yes, a felt barrier between us and our learners. So all these steps can be adopted and in helping the students to prepare them for the assessment. And in any case, we'll be sharing this PowerPoint with you in the group after this session. Here are some of the activities for ASL. Just have a quick look, and if you have any doubts, we can have a sharing on it before we close. Show and tell, freeze frames, create stories in pairs, imaginary trip answering questions, characters through clues, interview, role play. Are we all familiar with freeze frames? Sonia ji, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Absolutely there.
Yeah, just talking about a few activities that can be adopted for it, and as asking them if they could share on freeze frames, or if we could share, and then we round up asking their doubts, because
Okay.
I think we've already exceeded the time.
So what are they answering about freeze frame? Yes.
No. Till now we haven't received any answer. Freeze frame.
Okay, so we can share an example with them. Suppose you want to talk about a marketplace. There is this, you could take it as a pre-activity or a while activity or a post-activity. Now, is that the children are, ask them to do a role play of a market scene maybe. So when the children are, there doing the market scene, when the market scene is at its prime time, you ask for the word freeze or ask them to stop. जैसे हम स्टैचू गेम करते हैं तो वो जब वो स्टैचू हो जाता है एंड देन द चिल्ड्रन आर सपोज टू राइट ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर freeze frame, or when you're running a video for them or something, you stop the frame right at the highlight so that the children can look at it right there in front of them and create a story or a conversation or a write up, keeping the previous knowledge of what they've seen or heard during the role play or during the video, and then put it in some kind of input which you're asking them to put. So that is a freeze frame. And it is very effective. The children, like when they are doing the role play, जब वो कुछ नाटक के रूप में कुछ करते हैं या आप भी कुछ मोटी बात बताना चाहते हैं, कुछ रन कर रहे हैं, it's when you are doing some activity and you stop at the highlight point and then you make a freeze, उसको रोक देते हैं. तो उस
Yeah,
हाँ जी
it's basically like storytelling. We give them a starting, we stop at the climax and let them take it to the stop at a point and let them take it to the climax. Similarly, it's a role play where you are talking about a situation, but we stop in between and want them to present it before others by speaking or presenting in groups. So that is one way we can promote, in fact, a lot of listening and speaking in class by using any of these activities. And these activities can be a part of everyday routine, not all the time, but yes, we can pick and choose according to the needs of our lesson. Yes.
They can be planned and they can be rehearsed also. ऐसा नहीं है कि आपको उसी समय करना है, प्लान रिहर्स कर सकते हैं आप अपने बच्चों के कोहर्ट के साथ, एक ग्रुप के साथ. और इसको आप कहते हैं स्टिल इमेज. अगर आप इसको जैसे कहें हम स्टैचू या स्टिल इमेज कहें, एंड इट इज अ गुड आइडिया. बच्चे इससे खुश होते हैं क्योंकि ये नए आइडियाज अपनी एंडिंग अपने हिसाब से बना सकते हैं. इट गिव्स एन ओपन एंडेड situation to them, or this can be effectively used as a pre-activity in a class, as a closing activity also, as a pre-activity, जैसे मैं आपको बता रही हूँ. Because
yes. You know, this answers the doubt raised by Dheerajji. He says, agrees, but it is a little tough in virtual classes. Yes, Dheerajji, we need not use it for extempore. We can always stop our lesson at a point, or this activity at a point, and ask our children to come prepared the next day. हमारे साथ भी तो यही होता है टीवी सीरियल्स और एपिसोड्स में. We reach a point, we stop, and we wait for the next day, and we keep thinking on it. So we, just as Sonia ji was saying, we could take it as a post activity or a pre-activity also, as a preparation. And we have and a response from Swati ji. She says, yes, motionless image. Yes, students definitely enjoy these activities in our classroom, Dheeraj ji. And I think
जैसे ममता जी ने कहा, जैसे सीरियल में आता है ना, 3 बार फोटो आती है आगे, जैसे कुछ
बस
खाना हो,
और
कुछ. So that photo keeps coming, that freeze of the photo keeps coming. It is also to emphasize what you want the children to learn. It gives them importance of that incident, or it gives them a criteria to create importance of what you want the children to understand also. That is
right. So I think that's all from our side today. But we're there for you all the time. I've already shared our emails. We are there with you in the group. Any questions for right now? Any questions, any doubts for right now? Please share.
हमारे लास्ट सेशन की याद रखे, आर के नारायण ने क्या बोला था? If there are any doubts, then only there is understanding. So we are expecting some questions. So if there are no doubts, that means there is no understanding.
No, but I remember telling you that it's the other way around.
Yes, we have a very bright audience here. Very bright. I'm so impressed with their furious chat box initiations and writing.
I know. They're right that it's become different and difficult in these virtual days. I would not say difficult, I'll say it's different. It's a different challenge that we are facing. Yes, the challenge is being felt everywhere. I think, friends, we're good to stop for now. We've already shared our emails with you. You have our contact numbers. Anything, any doubts, anytime, we'll be there with you.
और आज का दिन तो वैसे भी हैप्पी छोटी दिवाली, और आपकी वैसे भी लास्ट सेशन है. आपको 10 दिन का जो लर्निंग है, टॉर्चर है. मैंने टॉर्चर को जोर से नहीं बोला, ब्रैकेट्स में बोला है. सो जो भी आपका टेक है फ्रॉम हियर, एंड होप यू हैव अ सेफ एंड हैप्पी दिवाली, एंड ब्लेसिंग फ्रॉम our side to all your family, and all of you must have a great Diwali. That's all.
Thank you, Sonia ji.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much,
Very
ma'am.
happy festival season. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
And
Thank
even
you,
from my
Anamika ji.
side, I would like to thank Mamta ji and Sonia ji. And definitely, even I must say, my audience or my participants are very interactive, very talented. They have patience. I mean, this is a very nice group I am having this time. And yeah, they are seriously very cooperative.
They are definitely. The interaction says it all.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We're there with you
अनामिका
all the time.
अनामिका मैम
Thank you,
सीरियसली
ma'am.
सीरियस, मैं ऐसे कहूंगी
Yes.
सीरियसली सीरियस है ये जो
Yes,
ग्रुप
seriously serious.
True.
Seriously serious.
ये हमारी एलिट्रेशन हो गई.
Yeah. This is the best example of alliteration, ma'am.
Right.
And to all my participants, even ma'am has shared this thing that we have shared our email ID as well as you have our phone numbers. So in future as well, while conversing with the students in the classroom or on a virtual mode, if you have any kind of problem while teaching any of the skills, while dealing with question papers, evaluation, any of the topic we have discussed till now, you may put your queries in the Telegram group and don't leave the Telegram group after this program. बिकॉज हमें लगता है कि प्रोग्राम खत्म हो गया तो वी लेफ्ट द ग्रुप्स बट प्लीज कीप इन कनेक्शन क्योंकि जो भी हमारे पास कंटेंट अपडेटेड होते हैं कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन है विल कीप ऑन शेयरिंग द कंटेंट ऑन दैट ग्रुप ओनली क्योंकि सिस्को तो हमारा आज ही आपका खत्म ही हो जाएगा आफ्टर दिस प्रोग्राम हम लोग इसको सिर्फ 10 डेज के लिए हमने इसको वैलिडेट किया हुआ था बट व्हाट्सएप ग्रुप एंड टेलीग्राम ग्रुप वी कैन बी इन टच ऑन दोज ग्रुप्स सो इफ एनी ऑफ द क्वेरीज यू हैव इन फ्यूचर एज वेल you may put your queries there. So thanks a lot, ma'am, Sonia ji and Mamta ji.
अरे
now-
अनामिका जी एक रिक्वेस्ट
Thank you.
हाँ जी मैम.
अगर हमारा कोई साथी हमें कोई दिवाली का या कोई शुभ गाना सुना देता 2 मिनट के लिए जाने से पहले तो सबकी हैप्पी दिवाली हो
आपका
जाती.
छोड़ने का मन नहीं है मैम. हाँ
मैंने ज्वाइन नहीं किया है ना सबकी. कोई भी हमारा साथी अगर 2 लाइनें गाना चाहे तो मैं चाहूंगी कि प्लीज.
मैम ममता मैम को 12:35 से आई एम पोकिंग हर मैम टाइम हो गया.
Okay, then no song, no song.
Yeah, no song.
Some other time.
Yes,
We'll
yes,
have a
yes,
Zoom
yes.
meeting and have
Yes,
it.
yes. Sure, ma'am. Sure.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Have a
Okay,
nice
thank you.
day. Thank
So let us take a 5 minutes break only क्योंकि अब हमें भी क्लोज करने की जल्दी हो रही है कि let us close the session.
Okay,
So
ma'am.
5 minutes का break we can have and after that break we'll have a session on online teaching learning process by Dr. Bandita Mohanty. She is a senior lecturer of faculty from DAT Daryaganj. So ma'am will be talking on online teaching learning process. Yes, Shevya ji, have raised your hand. You have something to say?